All right, good morning, traders. Today is, what is today? Today is August 6th, 2025. My name is John Carignan. I'm the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. That is the day trading division of the hit and run candlesticks family. Thank you so much thank you everybody out there in podcast land, digital land, cyber land. Thank you for following my content, sharing my content, liking my content, commenting on my content. Thank you so much for everything. Special shout out. Thank you, Kathy, Sarah Roasted. Thank you to Bob Jordan. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. And John Jordan. Thank you for sharing my content. Really appreciate that. All right. Thank you for following me on my journey. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Let's pull up I don't know where that went. It was right there before. And let's pull this up right here. That's not the one I wanted. And give me just a second here. Just a second. Here we go. All right. Thank you, everyone, for being here. My SPY pivot this morning, 629.15. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. SPY, IWM, and QQQ made higher lows, higher highs, closing over bearish traps and over their 17 EMAs. FNGU made an outside day. That's a higher high and a lower low, closing under a bearish trap under the 17 EMA. Diamond Dow made a higher low and a higher high, closing inside a bearish trap but under the 17 EMA. SPY closed with a 2-hour bearish cross and a 10-minute downtrend. Silver still in an uptrend, made a higher low and a higher high, closing over a bearish trap over the 17 above the 17 EMA. Gold in a daily downtrend, made not leaving that 300 area though. It's in a daily downtrend, but it's not moving down. All right, made an outside day. It's a higher high and a lower low, closing over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. USO in a daily uptrend, made a lower high and a lower low, closing under a bearish trap and under the 17. UNG in a daily downtrend, that's got that bearish head and shoulders pattern, made a higher low and a higher high, closing under a bearish trap under the 17 EMA. US dollar index in an uptrend, closed near the 98.77 area. SPY Max Pain, that's for the options that expire today at 4:15. SPY Max Pain is 628 with a put to call ratio of about one put to each call that expires today, again at 4:15 for those index options. Nothing is flagged today. I didn't see anything that really caught my eye. Okay, these are all in bullish uptrends. These are all in bearish downtrends. Let's go take a look at some charts. Let's move this out of the way. Let's pinch this down. Take the cap lock off. Move this up over here. And let's go ahead and hit SPY. Start off with a 10-minute chart. And we'll hit up the game plan. All right. So here's SPY game plan. All right. Today I like. There it is. Okay, I like two days till expiration, Friday options, 9 days till expiration, Friday options. Both of those on the multiple of 5. I like them $3 to $15 out of the money. Again, the closer you are to in the money, the better your performance will be on those options. Okay, I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP and breaking away from VWAP. I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP and breaking away from VWAP. Okay, I have a green erases red entry, price up over 630.45. If you have a 10-minute uptrend breaking out over 630.45, that is a green erases red entry there. Again, the SPY pivot is 629.15. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. And if we have a 10-minute downtrend, I like the 627.80 entry, and that would be the red erases green entry down on the southern side. Now, if I get an uptrend that manifests down here long before the green erases red entry, I'm not opposed to trading it. Okay, as long as it breaks a rubber band candle. Again, if I get a 10-minute downtrend that happens to manifest or originate up here, all right, and long before it gets to this red erases green entry underneath down here, okay, if it breaks the rubber band candle, I'm not opposed to trading that to the downside, or if it happens to originate up here or up here long before it reaches the red erases green entry down here of 627.80. All right, so there's SPY game plan for today. Okay, 2 days till expiration. Friday options on the multiple of 5. Again, $3 to $15 out of the money. Okay, again on those options. All right, the closer you are to in the money, the better your performance will most likely be. All right. All right, so price action, of course, they're going to cost you more, all right, and but your performance is going to be more. So in other words, you pay for performance, all right. So there's SPY. Let's take a look at QQQ, because QQQ's got a game plan as well. Again, QQQ's got the same options. I'm looking for the same thing. I'm looking for 2 days and 9 days till expiration. Friday options on the multiple of 5. Again, on those multiples of 5 seem to have more open interest. Open interest helps with liquidity. I like nice tight spread. Okay, I like those options to be about $3 to $15 out of the money. Again, same deal. I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. SPY pivot today, 561.20. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. SPY red erases green entry is price underneath 560. A bullish green erases red over 562.85. All right. So that's a QQQ game plan for today. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look back at SPY. Actually, we'll just go ahead and look at this on the daily chart and see what we got here. Okay. So you can see QQQ and SPY put in higher lows and higher highs. Both of them. Well, QQQ closed under a bearish trap and under the 17, so I guess I got to fix that. And what did SPY do? Under the bearish trap and under the 17, so maybe I got that wrong. Okay, I'll have to adjust that. Okay, so there's SPY, all right, under the bearish trap and under the 17, okay? Don't know how I got that wrong, but I did. All right, so SPY on the 2-hour chart. Okay, we got a 2-hour bearish cross. 3 EMA is the yellow line, crossing underneath the 8 EMA right here. There's where that yellow line went. Move that to board 8, please. Okay, so on SPY, 2-hour chart, we got a 2-hour bearish cross right there, coming into the close. On the 10-minute chart, we got 10-minute downtrend. You got the 3 underneath the 8. Okay, see the 3 underneath the 8 there. Okay, so it's 10-minute downtrend coming into the close. All right, so I'm looking for a continuation of that 10-minute downtrend coming into the close. All right, so I'm looking for a red candle. All right, I don't want anything with a bottoming tail like this. See this big tail candle right there? It's got more tail than it does body and wick. All right, if it's got more tail than it has body and wick, I'm not interested in that, because that's not that's showing me more bullish control than there is bearish control on that. And again, I don't want a green candle, all right, because that's showing me bullish control, and I don't want any spinning tops or dojis, okay, because those kind of show me that bulls and bears both agree on price. Again, I'm looking for continuation of that 10-minute downtrend. We're showing a head and shoulders. All right, in the pre-market, I don't know if you know it, but price took out the head, decapitated the head, which usually nullifies the bearish head and shoulders pattern. Okay, but we opened up and we're all the way back here. So again, price breaking below this area right here, 627.80, activates the past head and shoulders pattern. Okay, and there is the red erases green entry to the downside. So I'm looking for again a 10-minute candle that's doesn't have a lot of wick, doesn't have a lot of tail down here. I don't want a green one. A nice bearish 10-minute candle to break out in this morning for a continuation of this 10-minute downtrend. All right, into the open. All right, that's what I'm looking for to open up this morning. We'll see what happens. All right, so there's SPY on the 10-minute. All right, let's take a look at it with the pre-market on there, and let's kind of see what we got. All right, so we're going to mark off the top, and we're going to mark off the bottom right there. Okay, and then inside there we'll mark off the first 15 minutes. All right, but a breakout of the range. All right, remember, if you break out and you hit gap fill and it reverses, there's a high probability that price reverses off of gap fill right up here. In other words, let's say we open up here, fill the gap, we come back up here and possibly test the high side of the opening range. That would be the first 15 minutes, and possibly the high, the pre-market high up here. All right, so we'll see where we go with that this morning on the 10-minute chart. Again, a breakout of the range, all right, is an entry, and a breakout of the first 15-minute opening range is an entry this morning. So we don't have those opening candles yet. But we look for the first 15 minutes. Whoever breaks that, that is a entry for the morning period. All right, so there's SPY. All right, let's go back to, we went to the 2-hour. We checked out the daily chart. You can see, got that wrong. We got a higher high and a higher low, but we closed under a bearish trap under the 17 EMA right there. Okay, got to fix that. Okay, so there's SPY. Weekly chart still in an uptrend. You can see all the green dots right here, still in a weekly uptrend. Monthly chart, still in a monthly uptrend right there. Okay, now my favorite trade is 10-minute uptrend over VWAP, inside a 2-hour uptrend, inside a daily uptrend, inside a weekly uptrend, inside a monthly uptrend. Okay, we don't have that anymore. We had that before, but we don't have that anymore. Okay, that's why I said it's a rare occurrence when we do have it. All right, but price action right now, we don't have the 2-hour, but we do have the daily, the weekly, and the monthly. All right, so we may get a 10-minute uptrend, but we don't have the 2-hour. It's nice when you got all of them working with you and moving price in the same direction. All right, right now the 2-hour is wanting price to move lower, while the daily, the weekly, and the monthly want price to move higher. Okay, because they're in uptrends, and the 2 hours in a downtrend, and the 10 minutes currently left off yesterday in a downtrend. All right, let's take a look at our technicals. Actually, we'll take a look at a few others here. Okay, FNGU. All right, FNGU got an outside day closing under, make sure I got this right. Okay, outside day closing under a bearish trap under the 17 EMA. Okay. FNGU is in a daily downtrend because they broke that low. See this low here? They made a lower low. Okay, IWM. IWM broke this low right here. So they made a lower low. They're in a downtrend. Okay, but they recovered the upper 30%. So they're bullish up here in the upper 30. Hopefully they can hold that. Okay. Day before, they were down here, no longer in the upper third of the quadrant lines, so they were neutral down here and in a downtrend. Okay, FNGU, back to FNGU one more time. You can see they're up in quadrant 4, so they're still bullish up here, but we're in a downtrend. Okay, because we made a lower low. Okay, in order to negate the downtrend, we have to take out this higher high up here, take out the high, and then we can negate the downtrend. That's FNGU. Okay, SPY, all right, still in an uptrend till it takes out this low right here. Okay, still in a daily uptrend. All right, and put the quad lines on there. Not sure what happened to my quad lines. Let's try it again. Here we go. You can see up here, quadrant 4, that's bullish. up there. QQQ. All right. Not sure what happened to my quad lines on that one either. All right, QQQ up here. This is bullish up in quadrant 4. Still in an uptrend till it takes out that low right there. Okay, and then we did Diamond Dow. Diamond Dow made a lower low. So here's a low. They made a lower low. They're bullish because they're up in quadrant 4, but they're in a downtrend. In order to negate the downtrend, they got to take out the high, and they can nullify the downtrend and convert it back into an uptrend. There's Diamond Dow. IWM. Okay, you can see there's a low. We made a lower low, so that puts us in a downtrend. Remember I said in the upper third, which it is, that's bullish up there. Okay, but we're in a downtrend. So we're in a downtrend and not moving down. So that's nice. All right, and you can see here's a low. We made a lower low, and that's why we're in the downtrend. If they take out the rally high, okay, they will negate the downtrend and convert the uptrend right there, IWM. All right, so let's take a look at some technicals. T21.22. Okay, you can see we broke the downtrend line yesterday. Price action made an appearance inside the seller's chop zone, but for the most part spent the day up here in the buy zone. This is a 15-minute T21.22. Okay, starting looking like another downtrend, looking like probably consolidation here in the buyer's chop zone. Okay, from the bigger picture, we have a lower high. This being the high, and a bigger picture, lower high right here. So we'll see what we're going to do with that. T21.23, 15-minute chart. We're in an uptrend. We make highs and we're making higher highs. Here's a high. Actually, yeah, there's a high right. No, there's a high, and we make a higher high right here. So that's a 15-minute uptrend on T21.23. Okay, 15-minute uptrend. We got a low, and then we got a high. So we made a higher high. So we're sitting a 15-minute uptrend. We're underneath this 200 SMA. On the daily chart, that was the rubber band candle. So price action, looking for price to retrace all the way back up here to the 200 SMA, right up there on the T21.23 15-minute chart. Still got that bearish gap, and it's been 3 days already, and the bulls still have not filled that bearish gap. Okay, that's not a good sign. All right, notice this is a bullish gap, and the bears filled that. This is a bearish gap, and the bulls still haven't filled that bearish gap. That's T21.23. 3-bar chart, same product, still in an uptrend. Got a low, higher low. All right, another higher low. We got a high, high, higher high, still in an uptrend. Up here in quadrant 4, that's bullish, okay, and still in an uptrend over this hooking 200 SMA up there. Okay, so price action on the 3-bar chart, still bullish and in an uptrend. Okay, on the 15-minute, okay, showing us a bear flag on the smaller time frame and caught underneath the 200 SMA. All right, so maybe we get another leg lower, or maybe they start filling gaps and getting back to the business at hand. That's T21.23. FNGU, again, showing us price action, kind of a sloppy hold here, but up and over to the right, looking like a failed breakout, unless they can recover that. Okay, but still holding that higher ground up there. That's bullish on FNGU. Okay, notice price moves up, consolidates into a launch pad, and then launches. Goes up, consolidates, kind of a long consolidation. This is all of this consolidation is since actually the end of June. If you notice that, we've been nothing but hanging out in the same spot here for FNGU. All right, and let's take a look at inside FNGU for the daily price action. You can see right here, this was yesterday's, looking like selling from the beginning of the day to the end of the day with a 1 martini break right here, okay, under VWAP the whole time. Okay, FNGU right there. Okay, caught underneath that flat 200 SMA. Okay, so not good. Selling all day. Notice a couple days ago, selling all day. All right, so there's FNGU. Let's take a look at few sectors. All right, let's start off with silver and gold. Gold still in an uptrend, holding, still in a downtrend. See, it's a low right here. They made a lower low. All right, so still in a downtrend. Still hanging out over 300 mark. All right, and still holding the higher ground up here. Okay, price action moves up and still holding the higher ground. That's still bullish. Okay, if we pan out, okay, you can see the whole quad lines here. All right, if we pan way out, you can see price action up here at the top of quadrant 4 and building out a 3-month long launch pad up there. That's bullish, hanging out over 300. All right, that's still bullish. Only problem is we're in a daily downtrend. But here's the good news. We're not moving down. We're moving up. Ever since we broke these lows right here, okay, we've been moving up. All right, so there's gold on the daily chart. All right, in a downtrend technically, but not moving down, and bullish up there at the top of quadrant 4. Silver. All right, silver is a sloppy consolidation over prior consolidation right here. Silver is still in an uptrend. They have not made a lower low. It would have to be this low right here. They have not taken out this low made on June 24th. Okay, price action is higher low, higher high, closing over a bearish trap and over the 17. That's bullish. Up there in quadrant 4, that's bullish. Still in an uptrend. That's kind of bullish right there. All right, and price action still consolidating over prior consolidation. That's bullish. That's silver. Let's take a look at USO. Okay, you can see USO no longer in the upper third, so that's neutral. Again, going up, giving it up. See, like father, like son. All right, see, going up, giving it up, go up, give it up. All right, so they're neutral. They haven't made a lower low, so they're still in an uptrend. If they happen to take out this low down here, that will negate the uptrend and convert a downtrend. So there's USO, still in an uptrend, but just neutral. All right, because they're not in the upper third. Okay, if they could have gotten up here in the upper third, up here, this would be the upper third of the quad lines. That would be bullish. This would be the lower third. Okay, down here in quadrant 1 and part of quadrant 2, this would be bearish. Okay, they're just in the neutral area between the two lines. There's USO. Let's take a look at UNG. UNG got this bearish head and shoulders pattern. Let's lift this off the ground. Okay. Okay, you can see price action. Up here, you got the triple top head. Okay, it's a bearish head and shoulders pattern. Okay, got a double top right shoulder. Got a double top left shoulder. Looking for the right arm to extend down here where the left arm left off. That is the all-time low right there. Okay, you can see price action making a series of lower lows right here. So it's in a downtrend. It's in quadrant 1. So that's bearish down there. So bearish and in a downtrend on UNG. All right, we'll take a look at a few sectors and then we'll move on. SMH. Okay, still bullish. Still in an uptrend. Okay, on SMH. XLK. Okay, still bullish. Up there in quadrant 4 and in an uptrend. XLF. XLF in a downtrend. There's a low. We made a lower low. So still bullish because they're up there in quadrant 4, top of quadrant 4. But in a downtrend. XLF. IYT. Neutral. Actually, they recaptured. I'm going to give it to them. Okay, so bullish all right, because they just recaptured this upper third. Bullish, but in a downtrend. Here's a low. They made a lower low right here. Okay, so bullish, but in a downtrend. I don't know how long they'll hang on to this bullishness. All right, we'll see what happens. All right, they got to stay up here in the upper third in order to maintain the bullishness. All right, there's IYT. Bullish, just barely, and in an uptrend. All right, we'll look at the economic event. Start off with US dollar. Okay, this is a daily chart of the US dollar. Okay, you can see we had two highs here and here. Okay, we were in a downtrend. Okay, making you can see lower highs because there's a high, lower highs and lower lows. All right, we were making lower highs and lower lows. Then we stopped making lower highs and lower lows and started making higher lows and higher highs. So now we're in an uptrend. Okay, right now we have minor resistance, which is all of these valleys down here. Okay, right through there. Okay, we tried to break back through minor resistance before. We could not. We failed and made a lower low. All right, so right now we are consolidating. It's in an uptrend on the daily chart, technically, because we made a higher low and a higher high in a bear flag down here underneath minor resistance right here. Okay, so price action in a bear flag, but also in an uptrend underneath this minor resistance right there. So in a daily uptrend, keep an eye on that minor resistance area. We need them to, the bulls need them to break through and hold up here. Again, they could not hold the higher ground before. So we'll see what happens. All right. Pulling back and hitting minor support would be this peak. All right. Over these two lows, that peak between these two valleys right here. All right, looking for that to J-hook out of there and come up here and re-challenge this minor resistance area, okay? Again, U.S. dollar in an uptrend, but also in a big picture bear flag. Okay, on Max Pain for today. Okay, it's 620, I believe it's 628. Yeah, 628 is Max Pain for the SPY options that expire today. And we've got about a little over one put to each call that expires today at 4:15. On the economic front, today's Wednesday. You got NBA mortgage applications at 7. Petroleum report at 10:30. Okay, really light day. All right. Thursday, jobless claims 8:30. Productivity and cost 8:30. And then wholesale inventories 10 o'clock. Gas report 10:30. And then consumer credit at 3. Friday, just a rig count at 1. Again, really light week for economic data this week. No GDP, no FOMC, no consumer price index, none of that. Okay, really light week. So wherever they want to move it, which I am not clear where they want to move it, but they're still bullish. Okay, not clear where they want to move it. They can make a continuation of the same direction that they had. All right, so that's what we're looking at. And I don't quite have a direction yet unless we happen to recapture those highs. I'm not seeing it, not yet. All right, and then SPY Max Pain for today. I did that 628. I did the dollar. Let's do, did the economic. Let's do the earnings. All right, today's Wednesday. This morning we're going to get Novo Nordisk, all right, 217 billion. McDonald's 217 billion, Walt Disney 214 billion, Uber Technologies 184 billion. All of those report this morning. Shopify 182 billion there. Okay, Sony trying to find the P&L 149 billion, not sure. AppLovin 133 billion. They're going to report tonight. DoorDash 109 billion reports tonight. Thursday, that's tomorrow. Big one is Eli Lilly, over $700 billion tomorrow. That's almost 3/4 trillion, almost. Okay, that could move the market right there. Eli Lilly, 725 billion reports tomorrow morning. All right, we've got Toyota Motors still looking for the P&L. Gilead Science, 139 billion in the evening. ConocoPhillips, 117 billion in the morning with Eli Lilly. Brookfield Corp, 110 billion in the morning with Eli Lilly. Constellation Energy, 107 billion in the morning with Eli Lilly. On Friday, familiar names, but nothing here that's going to move the market. So you can see if they want to move the markets today, they're not going to have too much as far as earnings come out to disrupt their direction. All right, and they're not going to have too much economic data come out to disrupt their direction. Everything is all relatively tame right now. Okay, so, but I'm still not clear where they want to move it. They are still holding the higher ground up there, so that is bullish. All right. All right, traders, I will see you guys. 10-minute uptrend refers to an uptrend, yes, on the 10-minute chart. As in, we left off yesterday, okay, on that one, okay, SPY. But we had a 10-minute downtrend yesterday, KJ. All right, see the 3 underneath the 8? We had a 10-minute downtrend coming into the close. Yep, thank you, everybody, okay? 10-minute downtrend coming into the close. All right, currently, not sure what we got. I'll take a peek one more time. A 10-minute downtrend. Notice we have the 3 under the 8. All right, and it is under VWAP. So, again, I'll be looking for a continuation of the 10-minute downtrend. Okay, but we are going to mark off the pre-market highs and lows. Look for a breakout of that range, as well as the first 15 minutes. We will block that off and look for a breakout of that range. Again, if we break out of the first 15 minutes and we happen to hit the overnight high, chances are price will come back and test the lower side of the first 15 minutes and possibly even gap fill and possibly even the pre-market morning activity low on this side right here. Okay? All right, I'll see you guys in about 45 minutes. Let me fix my let me fix that other thing there.